Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. And normally I do not do this program by myself, and I do not believe that I will be doing the program by myself today, but I am waiting or awaiting the arrival of my co host. So, once again, if you see me kind of looking over this way a little bit, that's because I'm checking the screen to see if he has logged in yet. But Mikey is feverishly working to get back to location Bravo so that we can chop it up, talk about the news of the day, maybe get a little post Super Bowl talk in. That's always fun. I don't know what y'all thought about the Super Bowl. I thought it was a very, very good game. Started off really kind of slow. It was a defensive struggle. But then, kind of kicked into high gear. And all I will say is this: Niner fans out there, love you, but some of your fellow 49er fans, your friends, fans, however you want to refer to them, they can be some of the most obnoxious people in the entire world. And all I'll say is this: is that it was none too satisfying to a certain degree to know that we're not going to have to hear from them at least for another year. So I'm okay with that. But it looks like my good friend, Mr. Pilwarski, has actually logged in. He's chimed in an earth thing. So let's go ahead and let's bring him on. Mike, how goes it, sir?
Yeah, speaking of obnoxious people, right here I am. Here we are.
Speaking of obnoxious people, yes, sir. Yes, sir. How was your weekend?
Let's see. It was good. It was very good long weekend. Worked the whole weekend. Did the overnight on Saturday as well. So good. Not too shabby, sir. Not too shabby. How about you? How was yours?
It was pretty good. I did a lot of campaign stuff on Saturday. Walked precincts, did a candidates kind of a candidate fair where a bunch of all local Republican candidates kind of came out. People got a chance to ask them some questions, find out, see, get a good look at who was on their ballot. So that was all fun. And then also got to drive around and replace some of my big signs that had blown down during the windstorm that we had here. Nothing compared to what you guys usually have there, but it was like 50-mile-an-hour gusts, which is enough to take down a campaign sign. So, and then yesterday, I had a bunch of friends over, watched the Super Bowl, and I will tell you, as has been the case for a long time, the best part about the Super Bowl is the food. Everybody brings a dish, and it's good eats.
Yeah, the best part about the Super Bowl here was my cousin Vinny. That's what we watched instead of the Super Bowl. So
Well,
we
there you
don't
go. There you go.
we don't do that nonsense here. We don't do that Super Bowl nonsense here.
Well, there you go. Well,
I
no
can
worries.
I can catch the commercials on YouTube the next day if I have to.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Well, excellent, excellent, sir. Well, hey, let's get ready to go get into the program. But before we do, you know what we got to do? Give a shout out to our sponsors.
That's right. Let's say hi to Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net. Now you can get yourself AR barrels, rifle and pistol caliber, rifle and pistol length for your next AR rifle or pistol build. Get over to hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you could take part in California's future today. While you're there, check out the California 6th congressional race as well. If you want the best in tactical concealed holsters on the market, get on over to Hog Holsters. That's HAWG, hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown. That's all one word, no spaces, all caps, to get yourself a nice little discount. And if you're looking for tactical gear, field gear, going outdoor gear, hunting gear, hiking gear, whatever it may be, you can get everything except a gun at uscombatgear.com.
Folks, these are some phenomenal sponsors that we have. They're all Americans, true patriots. They love, love, love our country and what it stands for, and are willing to put their money where their mouth is when it comes to supporting the values that I think we all, at least those of us who generally spend time on this program, that we all share. So do me a favor, do us a favor, do them a favor, do yourself a favor. Visit their websites. The link is in the description to this program. However you're partaking, it's there. Just click on the link, check them out. You like what you see, spend some money with them, and make sure you tell them it was the guys over at The Rundown that sent you. Also want to encourage you, if you haven't already done so, like, share, subscribe, like, share, subscribe. If you want to get notifications whenever the show goes live, the two most reliable, I can tell you, are Spotify and Rumble. Now, Spotify, I don't know where they are on this free speech thing, but I keep pushing our Rumble channel because that is the home of free speech. That is the place where we will not be censored. So if you're watching this program or you find this program disappears off Facebook or disappears off YouTube, you will always be able to find us on Rumble. So if you haven't already done so, go on over to Rumble. Make sure you subscribe. All right, getting into today's news. All right, first we start off with Biden talking about shrinkflation. Now, normally every Super Bowl, the president gets basically what's in essence a free commercial. Before the Super Bowl comes on, in the pregame show, they always do an interview. It's always a softball interview with the president of the United States. Well, Joe Biden, for the second year in a row, decided that he didn't want to do that. He didn't want to do the interview, and I think we know why. Because his people don't trust him not to poop himself on national TV, whether in his pants or out of his mouth. But they know pretty much he's going to mess it up. So instead, they decided to do this video. And in this video that they had done, and they sent it out, it was talking about snack companies and shrinkflation. Now, for those of you who don't know what shrinkflation is, it's when instead of raising the price of a product, they actually give you less product. Right? You've probably seen it in cereal boxes and potato chip bags and stuff like that. Well, the interesting thing here is so once again, instead of that, he's going after, as a part of his fight against the corporate giants, he decides that he's going to put out a video about shrinkflation.
Super Bowl Sunday. If you're anything like me, you like to be surrounded by a snack or two while watching the big game. You know, when buying snacks for the game, you might have noticed one thing. Sports drinks bottles are smaller. A bag of chips has fewer chips, but they're still charging you just as much. And as an ice cream lover, what makes me the most angry is that ice cream cartons have actually shrunk in size, but not in price. I've had enough of what they call shrinkflation. It's a ripoff. Some companies are trying to pull a fast one by shrinking the products little by little and hoping you won't notice. Give me a break. The American public is tired of being played for suckers. I'm calling on companies to put a stop to this. Let's make sure businesses do the right thing now.
All right, now, Mike, let's just start with the obvious. The reason why companies are doing that is because his policies have driven up the cost of products, goods, and services across the country. Basically, Bidenomics caused inflation. And instead of inflating the price, they decided to give us less stuff. So because shrinkflation is a thing, right?
What an idiot. I mean, could he be a bigger idiot? I mean, you are the reason the prices have increased. You were the singular person behind it. You and your puppet master, right? You are the singular reason that the prices have gone up. And now you have businesses trying to find a way to stay in business, and you're going to complain and say they're the problem behind all of this, not you yourself. You're an idiot. You know what? If I'm these companies, Craig, anything going to Washington, D.C., Delaware, or even Pennsylvania, because he likes to claim Pennsylvania, and the nonsense they pulled during the election last time, everything going to those three locations, I'm doubling the price off. How's that for shrinkflation, you moron?
Well, you know what's even funnier about it is see, here's the thing. What the real problem is he's realizing that people are not happy, right? People are feeling it, and they're trying to convince you that Bidenomics is working. For example, and they're saying, well, the quote unquote leading economic indicators are showing that the economy is good. Inflation has slowed down, but prices are still significantly higher than when he took office. And what people don't understand in part is when inflation goes down, that doesn't mean that prices go down. It means that they don't go up as fast. And on a lot of the things that we enjoy, they've gone up like crazy. Like a couple of weeks ago, I did a tweet about the fact that I literally decided I wanted to stop and get a large fry just to snack on. And it was $5 for a large fry. We're not supposed to be upset about that? We're not supposed to recognize that I used to be able to get that for half the price not too long ago. Idiot. He is an idiot.
Yeah, there are some things out there that are easy indicators, right, Craig? First off, gasoline. Watch the price of gasoline. That's an easy one because that's foreign controlled at this point, so we really can't fight with them. They get to set the price with us, and they know what they can do. Dairy, not so much. Like milk and eggs, because those are going to skyrocket initially, but because those are controlled here locally in the United States, they can bring those back down. If you look at a gallon of milk and a dozen eggs right now, we're back down to almost normal prices. But the real key indicator is just like you said, go out to eat. Go out to eat and see what it costs you now as opposed to what it cost you 3 years ago. Greg, it's at least double
Oh, yeah.
the cost to go out because they have to draw from everywhere. It's just like you making your own, Thanksgiving dinner. They've got to draw from every bit of the industry, from logistics to manpower to electricity, everything. They have to deal with it all. That price has doubled. There's your consumer price index. What's it going to cost me for a dinner for two?
It's like going to Applebee's now costs as much as going to Ruth Chris used to cost.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That is for those of you who've never been to Ruth Chris, trust me, there's probably a reason why, because it ain't cheap.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, and that's the thing. The hard part is getting people on the left to understand it, or these politicians to get that, because they don't pay for their own stuff for the most part. Somebody else pays for it for them.
Absolutely right.
All right, 64 ways. Now, this is something else that Biden really needs to address. And we've seen the Biden administration stand up and say, well, I have no control over the border. There's nothing that I can do, yada, 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 right? Well, there is something you can do. And how about this? How about you undo the 64 things that you did that caused inflation, that caused the issues going on at the border, that caused the issues that are going on at the southern border. This is a piece that's actually over at Breitbart. It says, the list, 64 ways Joe Biden opened America's border to the world. They're calling them migrants. I call them immigrants. They're also illegal immigrants because they came here illegally. It says here, since President Biden took office in late January 2021, his Department of Homeland Security has worked tirelessly to transform the United States-Mexico border into a European-style checkpoint where border crossers and illegal aliens are briefly detained before being released into American cities and towns. Biden's policies have been highly effective in achieving the administration's ultimate goal of massively inflate the foreign-born population to the largest ever recorded, standing at nearly 50 million today. The latest Congressional Budget Office estimate suggests that 6.2 million border crossers and illegal aliens have been welcomed into the United States from January 20th, 2021 through December 2023, a foreign population just 2 million shy of New York City's population. Now, Mike, that's the one. Those, by the way, are the ones we know about, right? In January, House Speaker Mike Johnson compiled a list that details each of the 64 actions taken by Biden and his DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas over the last 3 years to entice the world's migrants into the United States. I'll just do a couple of them. It says here, January 20th, 2021, President Biden terminated the national emergency at the southwest border. I won't name the proclamation, thereby halting emergency construction of border wall. January 20th, President Biden issued an executive order further entrenching the unlawful deferred action for childhood arrival, or DACA program. On January 20th, 2021, these are all on the day he took office. President Biden unveiled the U.S. Citizenship Act, which would provide amnesty to millions of illegal aliens. January 20th, Biden revoked Trump-era executive order that was designed to ensure that there was a meaningful enforcement of the U.S. immigration laws. January 20th, January 20th, January 20th. Mike, all of these are things that he did, right, by executive order, which means that they are all things that he can undo via executive order, and we can have the same level of control over the border that we had under President Trump. What say ye?
Craig, the 64 ways that he opened the border. Tell me this is not the next Paul Simon hit out there. This is it. This is. Let me see if we can do it here. Let's get a little freestyle. You opened up the gate, Jake. You won't build a new wall, Saul. You tore down the fence, Vince, and you let the men fall free. Come on, we can do it. Back to you, Craig.
Yeah, I'm not much of a singer, dude. I'm not much of a singer. I was actually just taking a moment to share the link because I know people are going to want to read this entire list. So I was actually just taking a moment to share the link with folks. If you look in the comments, section there on social media, you should be able to find it.
You asked the question, why doesn't he just, redo some executive orders or reverse some executive orders? Because he has no recollection of doing them in the first place, right? Do we have to go any further?
That's a good point.
Right? He doesn't know what he did. He doesn't know who told him what to do. He doesn't, is this the border crisis now or is this the border crisis in 1996? He's not sure. He doesn't know. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't have the ability to fix anything that's broken because he does not recall breaking it.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, a part of it is, I think he knows, but what I think he doesn't want to do is he doesn't want to admit, he doesn't want to own it. He doesn't want to admit, right now people are mad at him and he was trying to blame Republicans and no one's buying it.
I got you. This is the playbook, right? We told you, said if they couldn't keep this guy in office this long, this is what their move would be. They would find a legitimate reason in the last year in office to take him out of office and bring in whoever their next candidate's going to be. And remember, they do that timing right. We don't have to have old Kamala step up, right? You can just have somebody else be nominated. All right.
There you go. Exactly. All right, moving right along. The Hawaii Supreme Court quotes The Wire in a ruling. Okay, so we know that the left, they very seldom do they actually quote law, right? Or the Constitution when they're actually making their rulings. Those justices who are appointed by those on the left. They generally look to their own conscience because they believe, well, they're smarter than everybody else. They are more moral than everyone else. So therefore, their sense of right and wrong. Well, evidently, these folks are getting their sense of right and wrong from an HBO series that's been off the air for several decades. Anyway, Hawaii Supreme Court cites The Wire in its ruling on gun rights. It says here a ruling by Hawaii's High Court saying that a man can be prosecuted for carrying a gun in public without a permit cites crime drama TV series The Wire and invokes the quote spirit of aloha in an apparent rebuke of a U.S. Supreme Court decision that expanded gun rights nationwide. Quote, the thing about the old days, the unanimous Hawaii Supreme Court ruling issued Wednesday said, borrowing a quote from season 4, episode 3 of the HBO series to express that the culture from the founding of the country shouldn't dictate contemporary life. Authored by Justice Todd Edens, the opinion goes on to say the spirit of aloha, quote, the spirit of aloha clashes with a federally mandated lifestyle that lets citizens walk around with deadly weapons during day-to-day activities. Now, Mike, once again, what's interesting here is you notice no mention of the Constitution. None.
No. Well, it's Hawaii. Again, Hawaii doesn't need the Constitution, right? They're Hawaii. They have the law of King Kamehameha they can go back to if they want to at any time. Um,
They have Ohana.
I mean, good on them for pulling the wire, right? A great series, McNulty and Omar. Come on, Omar was the man. Um, the what what a what a horrible thing Hawaii has done, right? Hawaii has said, take Heller, take McDonald, take Bruin, and throw it away because we're Hawaii and we choose not to do that. Our Second Amendment, although almost identical to the nation's Second Amendment, is not what we meant. We meant something different when we said that. So you interpreted it differently than we interpret it. So we're going to go back and say we're different and we're going to do what we want. Um, Craig, I don't know about you, but Hawaii should be the best example for the if gun control works. Be the best example of a series of items.
Right.
If there's one way to secure someplace, it would be an island. Okay, no more guns in ever. Done. We control all the borders. We control all the airports. We control all the shores. Guns can never come in here again, ever, ever, ever. We're done. As of tomorrow, there'll be no more gun violence. What's going on there? More and more gun violence is on the rise. The more they restrict the law-abiding people from owning guns, the more the criminals break the law, use the firearms that are there to commit crimes. If they started today going door to door, house to house on all the islands of Hawaii to take away the firearms, it would take 1,000 years and they would still get nowhere. You can't hide all the firearms.
Exactly. Nothing else to be said. You hit the nail right on the head, and I don't understand why these folks can't see it. But once again, I just, like I said, I love how they ignore the Constitution and they quote The Wire.
We don't need the Constitution. We're Hawaii. I'm surprised they didn't quote King Kamehameha. I really am.
All right, and finally, as a part of a Black History Month lecture, a University of California at San Francisco professor. Oh, by the way, the lecture was called "Diagnosing Whiteness," because in the lecturer declared that whites in particular, whites are psychopaths. Let me read the article for you. This is over at the American Newswire. The University of California, San Francisco recently invited a blatant racist to spew vile anti-white commentary to students. The racist, Dante Dang, is a Black public speaker who ostensibly key focus is to continue examining and educating individuals and organizations about the legal construction of colonial and post-colonial America, end quote, as stated by his website. According to UCSF records, he appeared on campus last Thursday to deliver a Black History Month centered lesson on diagnosing whiteness and anti-blackness. Listen to some of the garbage spewed. But basically, listen to what he was saying.
Whites are psychopaths, and their behavior represents an underlying biologically transmitted proclivity with roots deep in their evolutionary history. How many of you could see the proclivity that evolved deep within the evolutionary history of whiteness by show of hands? How many of you could see it? Some people are sitting here, oh no, I don't want to raise my hand. That's called denial. There's no discussion about the delusion and the perversion of whiteness. Say this with me. Rape culture in America is a legal, economic, and moral institution. So we have it written in the law, you can rape Black women, but we've never been a racist country. This goes beyond gaslighting, and it's rooted in psychological delusion.
So, those are tax dollars at work, right? That's UCSF is a public institution. It's supported by taxpayer dollars, both federal taxpayer dollars and state taxpayer dollars. And this dude just got up and basically said that white people are psychopaths, or so psychopaths are psychopaths. You have the floor.
Release the hounds. That's about all I can say. Let them have them. Release the hounds. It's just this guy is obviously stealing from us, right? Taking our tax dollars and just throwing them down and lighting them on fire. This guy's an idiot, evidently, because they're a white man raped a black woman 100 years ago, 200 years ago. The rest of us are still psychopaths. I mean, listen, if we want to go back, we can go back probably 10 or 15 years further than that, right, Craig? And say, look where the black people were living then. They were living in Africa with killing animals and using sticks and stones to make fire. So we all did things weird a couple hundred years ago. We've all progressed since then. We're now in a society where everybody accepts everybody, except for the times when the idiots like you want to dredge up the past and make it the present again.
Exactly. It just, if you want to know why, it's kind of funny because people are like, why is there so much racial division today? And the reason why there's racial division is because people like this are not just, here's the thing. If you're going to be racist, I would rather you be publicly racist so that I know you're a racist. But the problem is this guy is supported. There are people who gave this guy money. We have people who are paying people who are supposed to be educating our children. Now, imagine if you had a white person get up there and say the very exact same thing about black people. Oh my, they would have him run out of town on a rail. He would be accused of a hate crime and would never be allowed to speak in public again.
Yeah, this guy would be out of a job, right, Craig? If there was no racial division, he'd be out of a job because his job is to talk about racial division. So
right.
He needs the racial division to be here to justify his existence, to keep getting him his grant money from the state and the feds in order to keep moving on. This guy is, listen, I'll tell you what this guy reminds me of, Craig. I had a boss that used to say, listen, I don't care if you drink at lunch, but don't drink vodka because I don't want the customer to know that you're a drunk. I want the customer to know that you're drunk and not an idiot. Okay. So this guy's been drinking. This guy's the idiot. All right. He's drinking the vodka, I think.
There you go. There you go. All right, folks. Well, hey, that brings us to our parting shots, brought to you by Hog Holsters, HAWG Holsters, helping Americans wear guns. Just go to hogholster.com, use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces. Get your hog holster today. All right. First, we have, there's a horrifying new study out. And this is a study that basically says, horrifying study finds that more trans people have pretended to die under DeSantis than any other governor in history. This was brought to you by the Babylon Bee. For those of you who are just listening, it's they did a die-in outside of the governor's office again. And so they're all laying there with their little tombstones saying, Ron DeSantis killed me.
And they spelled his name wrong, it looks like, too. Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis.
DeSantis. There you go. And following the Super Bowl, turns out San Francisco loots slightly more than usual following Super Bowl loss. Yeah, that's what usually happens when you wind up losing the Super Bowl. They wind up shoplifting and looting. Well, they did it a little bit less this time than they normally do, by the way.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah.
That was also brought to you by the Babylon Bee. And then finally, also from the Babylon Bee, we have 10 signs you're a dangerous Christian nationalist. These are the 10 signs. 1, you're a Christian, biggest red flag of all. 2, you voted in an election. You think you're supposed to have a say in who leads the country, you maniac. 3, you're married to a person of the opposite sex, so there's no telling what horrible things you might do. 4, you are currently in possession of an American flag. Only a truly hateful person displays such frightening imagery. Number 5, you agree with the idea of building a society on principles like do not steal, do not lie, and do not murder. Haven't you ever heard of the separation of church and state? You let someone wearing a MAGA hat walk by without punching them in the face. Disturbing evidence that you agree with Nazis. Number 7, you pay for merchandise at Target instead of just running out the door. It's probably because you think you're better than everyone else. Classic symptom of Christian nationalism. And number 8, you won't let your third grader join the after-school Satan Club. Refusing to let your child hang out with the Prince of Darkness is a clear sign that you are a bigot. Number 9, you face Mar-a-Lago 5 times a day and pray to Donald Trump. All Christian nationals do this. And then number 10, if you own a Bible, even more dangerously, if it's a King James Bible, then you, my friend, are a Christian nationalist. I don't know, man. I think I resemble a few of those remarks.
Sounds like another Paul Simon song coming, Craig. Sounds like another one.
There you go. There you go. All right, folks. Well, hey, we've hit the limit for today. But before we go, you know what we got to do. We're going to give another shout out to our sponsors.
HitmanIndustries.net, HitmanIndustries.net. Now you can get any AR barrel you want, any rifle length, any pistol length, any caliber. Just reach out to them at HitmanIndustries.net and get yourself your next barrel for your next AR build. California Republican Assembly fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. Make sure you check out the 6th congressional race out of California while you're there. And if you want the best in field gear and tactical gear, you can get everything except the gun over at uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks. Please take a moment, visit our sponsors, let them know that the guys over at The Rundown sent you. And with that, we're going to call it a day. We very much appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We will be back tomorrow on Taco Tuesday. Till then, y'all have fun. Stay safe. Peace out.